The Legend of Zelda has left an undeniable mark on the world of gaming, especially when it comes to its unforgettable blockbuster hit, Breath of the Wild. But sometimes, after a busy day, the thought of swinging a sword at yet another divine beast or pushing bricks around to solve yet another dungeon puzzle sounds simply too exhausting. Some of Breath of the Wild's best moments are the mundane ones, aimlessly roaming around, discovering secrets in out-of-the-way places, and taking in the sights of its beautiful vistas. You see something interesting out in the distance, you mosey on towards it to check it out, and before you know it, you've microdosed a little adventure.
In recent times, we've seen more and more indie games bunny hop over the standard Zelda-like formula, eschewing trials of combat in favor of focusing on our base desire to get out there and explore. The latest one of these pacifistic RPGs replaces frantic sword fights and devious dungeons with, friendly bicycle races, in an attempt to bring that cozy feeling of exploration to the forefront. Today we're talking Wheel World, the new cel-shaded cycling adventure from developer Messhoff and publisher Annapurna.
As always, if you want to support our channel alongside an ever-growing list of champions, we'll tell you about all that later on. But for now, let's shift our focus on Wheel World. Get it? Shift?
No.
Does it fulfill the potential of a pacifistic open-world adventure, or does it skid out before it reaches the finish line? Well, stretch your legs, kick those pedals, and push off into the hills. It's time to find out. My name is Boss Sauce.
And I'm Roland Coons. And together, we are the two-headed hero. Wheel World opens to the unsettling yellow-eyed stare of the main character, Cat, who is a bike messenger, I think, and not a cat. It's never really explained how Cat ended up lying face up in a field or why she's currently staring up into the bright blue gradient of the sky. Nevertheless, this is your introduction to a wondrous world of Zelda-like cel-shaded proportions. With nothing else better to do, Cat steps into a nearby sewer outlet and touches a rust-covered bike frame.
I hope that's rust covering it anyway.
It says that it's rust.
Yeah.
They label them rust, but...
It could be something else.
Sewer rust. That's that classic sewer rust.
Dude, I'm gonna start a death metal band called Sewer Rust. That sounds metal as hell.
That's not bad. In an instant, Cat is befriended, or perhaps possessed, by a cool floating skull, which is something that happens whenever I climb on my bicycle.
Neat. Well, this is Scully, Wheel World's equivalent to Navi, your constant companion and annoying guide that basically serves as your tutorial, and your most common source of exposition dumping. Scully lets you know that his magical sacred bike was stolen, and without this, the world can't function properly. Something about the spirits flowing through the shit pipe of souls, and yada yada, end of times, hell is real.
Since Cat is the nearest warm body, it's up to the two of them to endure cringy bike puns, find the legendary parts, open the sacred sewer of spirits, and climb to the top of Mount Send. Only there can you perform a mysterious moon ritual known as the Great Shift and keep the soul sewer flushing properly, I guess. Off you pedal over the red hills of Lunardo Island to track down the pieces of the only bike capable of traveling through a spectral septic system.
Now, there's a catch, of course. Wheel World is run by yet another big corporation by the name of Cyclorp. Early on, you'll find that the sacred bike parts were stolen by the island's 4 board members for use on their own velocipedes. Guess that's politics for you. The challenge lies in grinding up enough rep to race the Fab Four. Now, rep isn't really a currency, although the Lunardo boys here will tell you that it makes the world go round. Rep comes from smacking down the various bike gangs that have staked territory around the island. You initiate combat like this.
Just kidding. In any other game, you'd be fighting these gangs for rep. But not in Wheel World. When you start beef here, it's settled with a little bare-knuckle bike racing. That's right, no gloves allowed. Each gang also has their own leaders and personalities, a cute little touch. This dude here has a microwave for a head. It's kind of like pedaling against a bunch of G-rated versions of the weird gangs from that old Warriors movie from the 70s.
Warrior, come on to play!
None of this would matter if the bike physics didn't feel good. Fortunately, that's not the case here. Trekking around the countryside and bombing through quasi-European streets carries a good sense of speed. The arcadey physics convey a decent amount of air control, and there's a lot of excellent feedback when you're drifting around corners or launching over ramps.
Yeah, I think it all has a really nice tactile feel. On the downside, it seems like some of the advanced moves like bunny hopping and skid turning are kinda up to the player to figure out. This isn't a trick-heavy game, but some of the more advanced tracks require you to have at least a working knowledge of these moves to succeed. It's possible to intuit them from real-life biking movements, but it would be kinda nice if Scully stepped up to tell you how they're done once you come across the appropriate parts.
Wheel World carries a lot of track variety. Beautiful fields, rolling hills, dangerous forest paths, charming Euro towns, and bustling city streets. That's just naming a few. All these courses are ingrained in Wheel World's open map, which does much to ground the courses into the setting. But Wheel World is far from a difficult game, despite the tons of twisty-turny tracks.
Sure, there are some courses during the late game that might absolutely drop you on your little bike bottom at first, until you learn to anticipate the curves and peculiarities each track throws your way. But rubber banding systems like drafting in an opponent's wind wake, get it? Remember? Zelda?
Yeah.
Or taking advantage of secret jumps and shortcuts keeps the races from feeling too hopeless if you misjudge a tight turn, or get squashed by a truck, or run into a tractor, or run into this wall. There's also a boost meter that slowly fills up whenever you do burnout-style race tricks like near-missing obstacles, drafting on cars and NPC bikes, catching air time, and so on.
Still, the racing is not entirely perfect. The gang AI is far from brilliant, mostly sticking to a predetermined path, and even stupidly running into cars or other obstacles. Knocking into another racer seems to end with Cat spinning out instead of the opponent, every single time. And there's only 3 different race modes: point-to-point tracks, circuit laps, and the open-world one-on-one races against the lone wolves, which are all entirely optional and don't earn you any rep. So it's a good thing that there's more to do in Wheel World than just worrying about your track position.
Wheel World is an RPG in only the most basic sense, but an RPG still needs progression, right? Similar to a Zelda game, leveling up really consists of just 2 main areas. Bell shrines, they're temples guarded by Scully's larger cousins, and the shrine ritual is the simple act of tapping a bike bell. These shrines are a direct analog to the Zelda towers in Breath of the Wild. Once you work your way over to them and ding the bell, the spirit gets to work exposing the map and placing markers on big races and points of interest. Bell shrines also extend your boost bar max, which is key for the harder races, so it's a great idea to track all these down first.
The second area for growth is all about building your bike into a super velocipede. Man, there's a lot of choices here. A bunch of super secret parts have special perks that can add some unique abilities to your humble frame, like better drafting power, slow falls, or extreme bunny hops, just for example. You can also just make something that looks fucking stupid and tool around on it for fun. I really loved getting deep into mixing and matching the various parts to create the ultimate 2-wheeled Frankenstein machine, and it is entirely possible to make a game-breaking build if you put the right parts to work. Extra parts are won through races, purchased with tickets, and found just chillin' in out-of-the-way places around the island, which gives you another reason to explore.
In addition to gathering rep, there's a currency grind for tickets locked behind various chivos. You can turn in your completed punch cards to creepy surveillance drones that reward you with, basically Chuck E. Cheese tickets. Rather than trading them for pencil erasers at the Child Rat Casino, these tickets can buy bike parts from the open-air vendors scattered all throughout the realm.
There's plenty of other stuff to find throughout all the regions too. For example, the farmland challenges you to scare away crows in the fields. Stumbling over hidden parts, secret tracks, and sweet jumps really encourages you to keep tooling around the game's vast and beautiful map.
All this secret hunting and rep grinding is made easier due to the fast travel system. Apparently some mad scientist named, Portal John, hold for applause, has tapped into the spirit sewer and plopped a bunch of porta-johns everywhere to create a transportation hub. Interesting how Wheel World puts so much emphasis on toilet world here, since the old flushable throne seems to be the centerpiece of its afterlife. And you'll appreciate this edge because the game sends you far and wide across the four corners of the island during your quest for sewer access. Yeah, I don't really know.
The point of the game is to unlock the sewer level, and I'm like,
It is a society of people that only want to talk about and collect bicycles. I'm wondering if the key moment that made this idea develop was biking around and really needing to take a dump.
The four council members that control the island, and the legendary bike parts, each have their own strengths, unique tracks, and sense of style. You'll be challenged to go toe-to-toe with a mountain biking champion, bombing down forest highways at reckless speed. You'll need to master the tight turns and dodge traffic through busy city streets. You'll face endurance trials on farm roads and fierce rides through vineyards. And just as you close in on that coveted legendary bike, the challenge widens and the open world opens up even more.
Really though, exploring Wheel World on the back of your trusty bike is rewarding all by itself. Admire the gorgeously cel-shaded hillsides. Relax in front of the hypnotic turn of the windmills. Weave through traffic in detailed city streets. Roam from village to village, chatting with the humble citizens of the islands for insights and advice. Well, more often than not, they'll just say something goofy, but the occasional nugget of wisdom or morsel of Wheel World lore still floats to the surface from time to time.
Characters all have this unique, lo-fi oblong look to their designs. Gangly limbs and silly hats are par for the course. But what's better is the dreamy, goggle-eyed expressions we see grafted onto the faces of major characters, which goes pretty far to sell its cartoony charm. Sure, Kat's face might be a shifting JPEG, but you can't deny how effective it is to see an expression of wonder painted across her face as she wakes up under unfamiliar skies, or the visible disgust as she touches a sewer bicycle. Some of the bosses have far sillier speech animations. Props to the dude that just wiggles his mustache to talk. But Scully's animations might be the most expressive of them all, which came as kind of a nice surprise considering how often he wags his skeleton jaw through the course of the game.
It's a bit of a disappointment, then, that all the quirky dialogue is completely silent. I mean, this is an indie project, and voice acting is expensive, but I can't help but think that the game might be elevated with some spoken lines. Even just some Zelda-style barks or Simlish burbles might have been nice, because conversations feel a little bit empty. And audibly, so does a lot of the world. Most of the time you're going to just hear the quiet scrape of bike spokes and the video gamey sounds of crashing into a rock.
This audio landscape leaves a lot of room for the soundtrack, which is mostly composed of catchy indie pop and techno, complete with lyrics. It's good enough to keep the mellow moods intact even if it's a bit on the mild side. Apparently it features several label artists from lo-fi label Italians Do It Better, most known for signing the Portland, Oregon-based act Chromatics, which is featured in Twin Peaks: The Return. So there's some musical pedigree here, even if it's not quite to my taste.
Yeah, I thought it was decent enough for dumping down a hill too. That's alright.
One more thing that kind of bugged me is every time you restart a race, it restarts the song. I don't want to hear the first 30 seconds of the song over and over, you know?
And for as many good times as we had with Wheel World, there were still several other things that muddied the recipe a bit. We already talked about the hidden stunt mechanics and simplistic AI, but that's not quite all. First, I can't back up. Why can't I put my little feet on the ground and push myself backwards just a little bit if I'm too close to a corner or a wall? Instead, I gotta go through the trouble of dismounting the bike, walking around, jumping back on the saddle once pointed in the correct direction.
And at the same time, there's some camera issues that can pop up when maneuvering too close to walls or set pieces. It's nothing game-breaking, but it does leave the game feeling a little bit unpolished. Wheel World allows Kat to ride through some obstacles, but collisions aren't always consistent. There's not really a way to tell which bushes and hedgerows your bike will pass through like a mild breeze, and which ones will toss you over the handlebars until they're already under your wheels. If I rammed my bike into a grapevine going full bore, I'm pretty sure it would send me to the hospital, not the winery. But I guess that's just the magic of Wheel World.
It's also mildly annoying that you gotta repeat the long boss dialogues if you don't beat them on the first try. Why can't they just say, "Hey, you're back again, Squirt, let's party on bicycles," or whatever, and get on with the action?
Finally, it's great that you can customize so much about your bike, but why can't you customize the rider? Kat finishes the game wearing the same sweaty cycling gear that she starts with, which Probably smells pretty powerful by the end of the game's 8-hour main quest.
It sure has been in the sewer and the sewer transport system a lot. Also, no bicycle helmet? People riding dirty in Wheel World. I guess if the worst life-ending bike accidents just teleported me a few meters back, no worse for the wear, I might be a little bit more careless with my bicycle safety gear as well. What if all that collective brain damage from repeated impacts with the dirt added up over time? I guess, yeah, it doesn't matter if you run into Tractor or if Tractor runs into you.
Such is the silent curse of Wheel World.
Yeah, everyone is trapped forever, immortal, unending existence.
Slowly degrading over time until they get flushed down the sewer that takes over their entire afterlife. All in all, these are nitpicks in an otherwise very fine game. Wheel World was a nice surprise, especially for a two-headed mutant that doesn't really spend much time in the arena of racing. This was probably the most fun we've had in a biking game, and considering the number of secrets to find and side gigs to chase, the price definitely feels right.
At last, we've reached the end of our little tour through the countryside. If you want to support the channel, ride on through that tavern door, order a cold one, and pull up a stool at the Heroes table on our Patreon. It costs as little as $1. Early video access, bonus materials, and special Discord roles are just some of the benefits for supporting us directly. You also get a warm, fuzzy feeling.
Yeah, in your overly sweaty bike shorts.
Plus, you'll get your name shouted in the credits, like the brave champions here.
Wolfgang Bristol,
Adam Uselman,
Amelie McNamara,
Jaduzable,
Yaroslav Rybaki,
Jim DiFrancesco,
Vulpes,
Cameron Framant,
John Williams,
Mirik Hotovi,
San Lunette,
Thorben Pelzer,
and the rest. Not enough rep? Not a problem. You can still help us out if you slap the old like and subscribe buttons, become a channel member, share the video with your fellow cycleheads, and make sure to ring that notification bell to find out when the next roundup or review spins its wheels onto your screens. We're creeping ever closer to our 10,000 subscriber goal for the year, and it would be really amazing if we all got there together.
In the meantime, there are so many more game reviews on our channel, just like this one. A big playlist of them should be bunny hopping onto your screen right about now. If you're thirsty for some more videos, why not take a look?
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next
Two-Headed Hero.